Who cares?
All right, welcome back to All Yankees Talk. I'm Delilah Bork.
I am Jordan Lorenz, and I can successfully open a bag of chips.
But apparently Giancarlo Stanton can't. And that, I think, is the flagship thing we'll be talking about today. So, for those of you who don't know, designated hitter Giancarlo Stanton said in an interview that the pain from his tennis elbow, which, to be fair to him, he does have tennis elbow in both elbows, which is a very painful condition. He is in so much pain that he can't, he said, open a bottle of water or even open a bag of chips. And that has sort of just gone absolutely viral for every Yankees fan. In a way, I think it's kind of unsurprising. He is an injury prone player. We knew this last season. They missed him for a good amount of time. But I actually was very impressed last season that he was able to come back and then play in the outfield, something he hadn't done in years because Aaron Judge got injured and had to play at DH. But the not being able to open a bag of chips thing is just ridiculous.
Yeah, the direct quote, it was with NewJersey.com. He said, I can't open a bottle. I can't open a bag of chips, a bag of anything. That's the way it is. And I just think this, I don't know, of all things to say, a bottle of water, sure, like, I guess, whatever, like, it's water, like, we can live with that, I guess. But a bag of chips is just so funny because I saw so many people, someone was like, why is he eating chips in the first place? He should be getting ready for spring training, like, he should be playing. And someone was like, why do you need your elbow to open a bag of chips? So I was like, kind of demonstrating, like, you could, like, do the straight arm, like, open,
Yeah.
like this, I guess. But, like, I don't know. I mean, it's just such a funny thing because the analogy he used was crazy, but I mean, he is injury prone. This is something he's been dealing with. I saw a different report. I don't remember who it was from, but he was like, this isn't new news to anyone. Like this, the Yankees have known this. They've been ready for this. They've been preparing. So I don't know. Aaron Boone, he kind of commented on it and how they're going to like take it easy with him or whatnot. But like, you're paying this guy the money you need him to play at the end of the day. And like, yes, he is your designated hitter, so he doesn't need to be in the field as much. And we'll get to a minor league signing, which obviously helps as well for a little bit of outfield depth. And then you have Spencer Jones, who we mentioned again before, whether he's ready or not. So they certainly have the outfield depth, but if you're going to be a designated hitter, you still have to hit the ball. And if you can't open a bag of chips, I don't know how you hit the ball. Like, I really don't. Like, that's as crazy as it sounds. I don't know. It's just, it's a little mind blowing at this point in the year to hear that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I certainly have empathy for him. It sounds painful, and I'm sure that that was his way of communicating that the injury is quite painful, but it is a little bit ridiculous. Although Boone described him as tough. Boone
Yeah.
said, I believe in that same article, that he considers him one of their toughest guys. That he can fight through the pain, and that's what we saw last season. I can only assume that's what we'll see this season. I think for Stanton, he knows that he's DH, and that's what they need him for. So I think that he will fight through as much as he can. And they do, I mean, even without prospects, even without new signings, they've got plenty of outfield depth for now. I wouldn't be worried about it, but I do understand why people are laughing.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at last year, he obviously played a lot less games last year than he had in years past, but he played 47 games at DH, started all of those, obviously. And then, like you said, the 20 games in the outfield. So it is notable that they were able to at least get him back in the outfield after 2024. It was 109 games as DH, and that was it. I mean, 2023, he played 31 games in right. The year before, he played 32. So he's never been like playing a million games in the outfield, but to just even play 20 last year and then to play the 5 games in left, that's a big deal too, because left field is obviously not his strong suit. He's played 1,078 games in right field in his career. Only 67 of them have been in left field. So obviously at this point in time, you know you're not expecting him to be in the outfield. Like if you're the Yankees, you just have to go into this year knowing, hey, he's not playing in the outfield, at least not anytime soon. I mean, things could certainly change, but I don't even know. It's been so long with your tennis elbow. I don't know how you fix it or what you could even do at this stage to like get it to a point where you can actually trust him to be out there. But it's just,
I don't think
they
you
need him
can.
healthy.
I think Stan said too, there's nothing that you need to fix it. You just deal
No.
with the pain. Which I think is just in sort of a meta way, an interesting way to look at sport. I mean, the guy's going to probably deal with tennis, although the rest of his life, long
Yeah.
after he can no longer play. But he certainly will be playing in the near future, even if he can't eat chips.
even if he can't eat chips. But I mean, they've got him listed as 245 pounds. I don't know about that. We've seen some pictures recently. I think they might have to do a little physical or whatever they need to update that.
We have seen some skinny Stanton pictures. I don't know if he's just been working out a lot. I don't know if they have him on Ozempic, but I was actually really surprised to see how I'd be shocked if they have him on Ozempic, but who knows? I was actually shocked to see how thin he looked. Not that he was huge before, but he was definitely like notably skinnier when he showed up for spring training. So I guess maybe having tennis elbow and not being able to eat chips is a good thing for
That
him.
might be it. Yeah.
I'll be curious to see if his bat is still as powerful with him being lighter. But
That's what I was
I
gonna
kind of
say. You definitely need the muscle, so we'll see if that like does impact anything. But I don't know.
I have full confidence that Stan will be Stan this season. I don't think that there's anything to worry about other than him saying something weird.
Yeah, and I think even him at 80% is going to be better than you're going to get from a lot of people. Like, no offense to Jason Dominguez or Spencer Jones or any of those outfielders like that, but Stanton, he's 36 years old. Like, he's obviously getting up there, so you can preserve a guy if you're able to keep him in as DH. But it's just it's the mechanics and the little things at this point in time. If one thing is going to mess up his swing, like he could regress quite a bit. But if he's been dealing with this last year, and if this is just a quote taken out of proportion and everything is truly the same, then there is nothing to worry about. I understand why people were not upset, but like freaking out a little bit. Like, that's quite a big statement to make for an MLB player to say, I can't open a bottle of water, which is also just as bad as a bag of chips, because like, how are you getting around the house? How are you doing anything? You in the dugout, you just asking guys, hey buddy, could you open this water for me?
Cups only, no
Yes.
bottles.
Have the trainer or whoever just get you a little cup from the Gatorade stand. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just, I think I'm agreeing with you. I think he's going to be fine, obviously. And especially since he is now basically like that full-time DH, I think there's a lot less to worry about. If he was playing 100 games in the outfield prior to this, like, take a step back, we need to reevaluate. But it, all things, according to what Boone is saying, I don't know if we can trust him or not. You never really know. But according to what he's saying, everything is fine. And then there was the other source. I forget who it was. I don't know if it was the Athletic or what, but someone said that this is not new news to the team. They've been aware of this. Everything is fine. It's just nothing was re-aggravated. Everything's the same as it was. So hopefully Stanton's the same as he was at the end of last year, and then it truly is fine.
Totally. Well, speaking of the outfield, I think that we should move on to the Yankees' new minor league deal. Randall Gerchuk, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it, but he's got on a non-roster invite, joining them for spring training. Last season, he played 113 games with first the Diamondbacks and then the Royals. And he didn't do too terrible. He slashed a 228, 273, 401, which gives him a 674 OPS. So I think that this is an interesting move for the Yankees, and certainly not a permanent one if they don't want to.
Yeah, not a permanent one at all. It's kind of like the Paul DeJong signing I kind of talked about on the last episode. It's more of just a depth piece. Like, that's really all it is. You're not spending $20 million to get a guy. You're not spending $10 million to get a guy. You're spending a bare minimum minor league deal, which is perfectly fine for a scenario like this. I know when there was stuff going around about the Yankees needing a new right-handed outfielder, Grichuk was certainly on their list, and they missed out on a couple of other guys, but this isn't a reunion. It's just more of a, how long are we going to keep you in our minor league type thing? Because I did an article today saying if he'll make the opening day roster, and I think the chances are pretty slim to none at this point that we would see him on that. But if they are doing an outfielder, so I mean, the bench is interesting because you're going to get a catcher, and you're going to get Goldschmidt, and you're probably having like Ahmed Rosario and then potentially Cabrera. It's just a matter of if they put an outfielder in there as well, which I honestly think they should. It's just, I don't know, because do you really need like two utility infielders as a part of that bench when you have Goldschmidt and then you have Ben Rice who can play basically wherever? So it's an interesting discussion that could certainly be had closer to the season when things are getting down to it. But I think if anything, Dominguez would get the nod over Grichuk. I still think sending Dominguez down to AAA is a bad idea. But I mean, obviously this isn't this is kind of a move that'll put the pressure on him a little bit because if all of a sudden he gets outperformed in spring training, it's like, well, the Yankees might have something to consider, or at least it's a wake up call to him. And he is a switch hitter. Grichuk is obviously that right handed bat, which the Yankees have needed because so many players on this team are left handed. I mean, literally everyone seems to be a lefty. So nice to have a right
Look at the
handed bat
pictures.
in. Yeah, true. Everything is, I'm left handed too. So I'm not complaining. I love left handers, but yeah, it's just this is a signing that's not really going to go anywhere. This guy's played on 5 teams in the last 5 years. So, I mean, he's bounced around from team to team. He'll probably find a new home in a couple months, if it's my guess. I don't think he'll be here forever, but depth wise, good, solid piece. And again, you can never have too many outfielders. You've got your 3 outfield positions. You know, Stanton's not going to play in the outfield. None of these Yankees infielders are really going to be playing in the outfield at all, if ever. So it's just a matter of what you have bench wise. And I think it's always good to, at this point in the year, you want a surplus. You don't want to be fighting to sign a free agent come March 15th, where you're a week out from the first game. So overall, fine signing, nothing to really write home about. His numbers are fine overall. They've been going down, which is never great. I mean, he's what, 32, 33, 34? I don't know. He was born in 1991. So he'll be 34, I guess, because he'll be 35 this year. His birthday's in August. So not age-wise, not the best. But again, this isn't – they weren't signing him to win the World Series. Like, this isn't your big move to win it all. And, I mean, he's been talked about for quite a while to join the team, so it's nice to actually see him make a move for a right-handed outfielder. But judging off his numbers from last year and kind of the way things have been going, not great, but at the end of the day, not a big deal.
For sure. I mean, it almost feels like when you sign a guy to a practice squad because you're playing his old team this week. Like, not that he couldn't feasibly make the opening day roster. I don't really see why they pick him over Dominguez, especially considering, like you mentioned, Ben Rice. Ben Rice can play an outfield position. I believe last season he played a good couple of games at left field, if I recall correctly. So I think it's almost like, let's see what this guy can do. Maybe he has incredible spring training with the Yankees and they say, great, you're coming with us. Or maybe not, and it ends up being motivation for Dominguez. I'm not quite 100% on what they'll do with him, but I agree with you. I think that it's not a terrible signing, but I don't think it's anything necessarily to write home about. He's not going to be a game-changing bat. He certainly isn't going to be, a starting outfielder because of his defense necessarily. So I would rate it just fine. Go for it. And like we always say, it is spring training. Opening day isn't for another month. We'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting to see what he can do in some of these spring training games, of which there will be many. And if it works, then great. And if it doesn't, it's not like they have signed him to a 5-year contract and he is going to be 35 in August. So I don't see anything wrong with it.
Certainly gets a passing grade. I know Joe called him the Yankees killer because of what he's done in his career, which is nice to always have a guy like that on your team instead of playing against you. But again, it's just a matter of how long he's really going to be on the team. And we'll see. Again, he could be kind of a guy that kind of floats around back and forth, AAA, but like options are going to run out at some point, and you wouldn't go out and trade 5 guys for him. So you got him for nothing. You can get rid of him for nothing. Like, that's the way I look at these kind of moves, because it's just, he's played on so many teams recently. He knows it's a business at the end of the day, and especially to play on the Yankees and to like make the opening day roster and play consistently on this team. Like, there's a different level to that. Not that the Yankees have won a million World Series in the last couple of years, but like, you look at their history and everything that goes along with the team. Like, it's like an unwritten type thing, basically. Like, to play with the Yankees, you have to kind of be that next level. And I know certainly some players haven't lived up to the hype, but you throw Grichuk in the mix, and like, he's really not going to be in that upper echelon. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. I think thinking on debuts and new players, we finally got to see the spring training game debut of Ryan Weathers. Played last night in in a pretty good win for the Yankees. And let's see, he pitched 3.2 innings. He had 1 hit, but 5 strikeouts. He was 2 for 25. I think that's a great spring training opening for him. I mean, they're not going to have him in there pitching 8 innings in spring training. Um, and I think that it's exciting to see what he can do because I think there was a lot of sort of conversation about his injury history when he first got signed, or when he was first traded, excuse me, from the Marlins. He had some struggles last season. One injury comes back for weeks, another injury, and I think fans were sort of trepidatious about what he could bring to the Yankees. But he said after he got traded, he feels like he's in the best shape ever. He's super fired up to play for the Yankees because his father did as well. And I think it's a pretty good first game for Weathers, especially considering that there was a lot said about him when he was first traded to the team.
Yeah, I mean, it took a lot to get him, which is kind of surprising for a player like of his caliber who didn't have any stats that are going to jump out the page or be super impressive. But he had an 11 pitch first inning yesterday, which I think was a really good way to just like establish himself and get settled in because that's the hardest thing. I mean, you're throwing your BPs and doing whatnot, but like until you're in that live action and he faced CJ Abrams, first batter he faced. So like kind of thrown right into the fire, which is really good for him because he needed it, that he got him able to ground out in 5 pitches and then took 4 pitches for the second batter and 2 pitches for the third batter. So he did really good work, ground out, strikeout, pop out all in the first inning. That's really going to get your confidence up right away because you got a 4 pitch strikeout, which is fantastic. The ball he missed was like just outside, so very, very close. But other than that, I mean, I think he did really well. Again, 3 2/3. It was interesting to see him pull him and not let him go the full thing, but it's a pitch count thing. That's all it is at the end of the day. It's not like he was struggling with the bases loaded and he was in a tough scenario to be able to get out of it. Boone and these guys know you're going to go in, you're going to throw 50 pitches. You're going to go in, you're going to throw 30 pitches. Like that's what spring training is about. It's not like in a game, regular season, where there's, oh, you're in the bottom of the 6th inning, there's 1 out, 2 runners on. Like you have to really think about it. This is as simple as it gets. It's a pitch count. That's all it is. So overall, I think he did very, very well, though. Like you said, he only gave up that 1 hit. And then it's just a matter of how he does moving forward because again, this is only a small sample size, this is only game 1, but all things considered did very, very well. In the 2nd inning he had a strikeout, ground out, and then in that 3rd inning he had a strikeout, single, and then a double play. So of the full innings he pitched, it was 1 2 3 every single time, and then once he got into the 4th, it was a ground out and a strikeout as well, and then they pulled him. So everything was really, really nice. Obviously we're not going to do a batter by batter breakdown for all of these pitchers in spring training or even during the regular season or whatnot. But I think for a guy new to the organization, for a guy who had trepidations and people that were worried about him as to what he was really going to bring to the table, A+ debut, no complaints from me. Like everything he did was perfect and you really couldn't ask for much better in his first start.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think that there's such an interesting thing going on with the pitchers. You know, they have Fried, there's Schlittler, who we're going to talk about in a minute. And then there's sort of like, is Luis Gil going to have a bit of a rebound from some struggles he had with injury? And then not quite being the player that Yankees fans have come to expect last season. Is Will Warren going to have a little bit of a better season? Not that he did terrible. I think he pitched, I was looking at it earlier, 33 games and an ERA of 4.44. So not terrible, but certainly not on the same level as Fried, for example, who led the league in wins last year, which was pretty impressive. But I think that there could be a real spot for Weathers. I certainly think that if his performances continue like this, again, it's an easier game in spring training. Like you said, they are just watching the pitch count. But I think that it's an interesting thing to watch, and I will be curious to see how this trade works out because I agree with you that 4 prospects for Weathers, who didn't make a huge impact on the Marlins last season, was a lot. Could have maybe done something different, but if it ends up being that he's the he really helps them in the beginning of the season, and then he's that 5th guy once Carlos Rodon and Garrett Cole are both back from injury in the middle of the summer. I mean, that's an insane pitching lineup. That's almost unstoppable. But I will say, speaking of pitching lineup, there are some injury concerns with Cam Schlittler, who I was looking today, I guess is no longer considered a rookie. I guess he pitched too much last season, but he made his debut in the middle of last year, and then I think really cemented his spot in Yankees fans' hearts with that crazy game he pitched against the Red Sox. It was record-setting. It sent Boston packing. Schlittler's from Massachusetts, and really just like had a fire under him. It was an amazing game to watch, and I think fans and analysts, everyone's been really looking forward to seeing him come back. But now he's saying that he is dealing with, they haven't even necessarily called it an injury. It's some mid-back inflammation that he said a couple of weeks ago was causing him pain. And the Yankees played it off, but he only threw from the mound starting today. He threw 25 pitches in live batting practice. What do you think on the Schlittler injury?
Yeah, it's interesting because like this is a guy who he still has such a small sample size, and the jury's still out on him. I mean, he could very well come back for a full year and just kind of not do well. He could have a 5 ERA. He could just really struggle, and the team would have to reconsider things. But the injury is far more concerning than like a sophomore slump, in my opinion. I think if he really is dealing with some back issues, which are not easy to fix. I mean, I've seen a million times Christian Yelich on the Brewers will be heating up, hottest guy in the world, former MVP. His back has absolutely derailed his career completely. All of a sudden, he'll just be out for months at a time with a back injury, and there's nothing you can do. It's like your tennis elbow or whatever type of injury it is. It's not, say, Tommy John, where you have a year off and then you're able to come back and throw and everything should be good. Like this is a type of thing that you really have to watch, especially for a young guy too. I mean, he's just 25 years old. He just turned 25 actually 2 weeks ago. So it is concerning in the sense that we don't know exactly what his status will be with 2 pitchers already injured. The last thing you can afford is a third at this point because I mean, your minor league prospects are not going to make the opening day. Your minor league pitching prospects, that is, they're not going to make the opening day roster. You're not going to have them start the first few games of the year. So the Yankees thought they had a solid rotation until you get the guys you mentioned, Cole and everything back. But it's just for Schlittler, he came off such a good year where he made a huge impact, and now Aaron Boone said he's going to be on a bit of a pitch count. So they're hoping he's going to be ready for opening day. It seems like that's the goal, is to get him to pitch opening day, but they're looking to keep him around a 70 pitch count. And I mean, that's not horrible, obviously. Let's look at some of his games last year to see actually how many pitches he threw in because in the postseason, he threw 107 and 88. So that right there is already well over the top. The only times he threw under 70 pitches, never actually. The least he threw was 75 pitches. So right away, a 70 pitch count is a bit glaring because if he's throwing over that consistently, I mean, in the regular season, he only reached 100 once. So that 107 pitch game against the Red Sox was just insane. Like everything about it was perfect. But other than that, I think the pitch count is definitely a concern, but a smart thing to do because you've got a guy who's extremely young, seems to be super, super talented, is nowhere near being demoted. I mean, this guy is a Yankee, I don't want to say for life, but like he solidified himself on this roster. So now to have that extra little element of concern, it is definitely something to keep an eye on because if I'm a Yankee fan, I am far more concerned about this than Stanton's comments. I know this is something where we still haven't gotten a ton of extra details on. The information's being kept close to home, but I think that's a problem. I think when they keep things close and don't really reveal a lot of details, that's when there's something to worry about. So I'm not saying hit the panic button yet. I'm not saying this is the end of the world and Schlittler's season's derailed completely, but I think certainly there is a lot to monitor with this situation, and the Yankees have a lot more behind the scenes that they're not letting on.
I agree completely. I initially sort of believed, I mean, he said, I feel great, I feel fine, nothing to worry about. And then he didn't pitch from the mound for 2 weeks. And then it was like, okay, what's going on? And I mean, the Yankees last year did not the same thing to Anthony Volpe, but they were a little cagey about his labrum tear. He had 2 cortisone shots throughout the season, and then they sort of let him take a lot of heat for a player who was suffering an injury that they say they didn't realize how severe it was until he had his off-season surgery. I would hate for the same thing to happen to Schlittler. I mean, I want him to get all the rest that he can, everything that he needs. And then at the same time, I think there's a lot of expectations riding on him for the same reasons we just talked about with Weathers. There are not a lot of healthy starting pitchers for the Yankees. I mean, there are, but their top guys are injured, and they are going to be injured until I believe Rodon's going to be back May at the latest, and Cole is going to be back June at the latest. And I don't want to see the Yankees struggle through the first 2 months of the year because their pitching staff has just been hammered by injury. I'm hoping, and it seems like maybe they are doing right by Schlittler. Like you said, the pitch count, he is normally a pretty high volume pitcher. In that incredible game against the Red Sox, he was in for at least like almost 8 innings, if not more than that. He did incredible. So I think that they'll do right by him, and it seems like he is pretty fired up about wanting to stay healthy, wanting to contribute to the team, and I just hope that he's better by opening day, like Boone says he was. Boone said today that he expects that Schlittler will be ready for next month. So that's pretty exciting to see.
It's not like he's the opening day pitcher, so it's not like there's a little extra element to worry about there.
Right.
But I mean, that's going to buy him 3-4 days at most. So it's not like not being the opening day pitcher is not going to just be a crazy thing to have to worry about. So I'm still fairly concerned, but also semi-confident in that if he does come out, you can easily go 4 innings, 70 pitches, and then you can throw a guy in there to eat a couple innings afterwards. But last topic today, speaking of pitchers, is the big one we learned, I believe it was yesterday. CC Sabathia is going to be having his retired numbered. He is the 24th Yankee to have a number retired. I mean, there were jokes all around about players having to wear like a fraction number or 115. I mean, how many more numbers can you retire at this point? But number 52 officially going to be retired September 26th. It's the Yankees' second to last home game, CC Sabathia night against the Baltimore Orioles. Great to see. He obviously deserves it. Didn't start his career in New York, but he certainly ended it in New York, and just a fascinating, stellar career, Sabathia with the Yankees.
I mean, what a blessing for a franchise to have so many players that are worthy of jersey retirement, because it certainly is that they're worried about what numbers the current players will wear. I think that it's awesome. It's very well deserved. I think it's fitting and fun that it'll come against a divisional rival, although I don't necessarily know if the Orioles are going to be vying for the top of the AL East. Sorry to the Orioles. And I think it's exciting. I think that it's a long time coming that they would retire his jersey. And just, I feel like there's not even analysis you can do about it. It's just great. It's exciting for him. It's exciting for the Yankees. And I think also just really exciting for people who watched him pitch and are excited to celebrate all that he brought to the team.
6-time All-Star. 3 of those came at the Yankees. Obviously won the World Series in his first year here, which is incredible. He was the ALCS MVP, 2-time win leader. So his career started in 2001. He wasn't the win leader until 2009 and 2010 when he was with the Yankees. So overall, I mean, he's already in the Guardians Hall of Fame. He's in the Brewers Wall of Honor. Now he's going to have his number retired by the Yankees. Well deserved. And that was kind of our big talking point to end the episode. But did want to mention, obviously, today's game. So the last thing that happened before we started recording was the Yankees improved to 5-2 in spring training. Yet another win. That's their 4th in a row. They started 1-2. They've won 4 straight as they took down, not the Minnesota Twins. That's who they play tomorrow. They took down the Atlanta Braves 7-3. And the first win of the career for Elmer Rodriguez. Awesome to see. He performed quite well in this game. Did give up a couple runs, but he still got a win. So he had the run support, which is all that mattered. 3 innings thrown, 4 strikeouts, 2 runs on 2 hits given up. Did have a walk in there as well. Camilo Dovaldo pitched in this game. So overall, quite a few, not a million talking points from this one, but we're just going to end the episode, obviously. Paul Goldschmidt had the really good game, 2 hits. Austin Wells had a great game, 2 hits. Ryan McMahon had 2 RBIs, and Caballero had 1 as well. So a lot of starters getting playing time and making the most of it, and that's what you would love to see here as February is coming to an end.
Definitely. I think that it will be interesting to maybe even look back on this game. It seems like that could be the way things go the first couple of months for the Yankees. I could totally foresee some maybe not as strong, not as lockdown pitching performances backed up by incredible offense. That's sort of been the theme of the Yankees this year. But I personally think that it was awesome to see Goldschmidt have such a good day, to see McMahon have such a good day, because these are guys who sort of take the brunt of not being the best hitters in the world. Goldschmidt is famous for being better against lefties, but he hit really well against a right-handed pitcher today. McMahon, also not well known for his offense, but hit well today. I think it was fun to see, and I think that we'll have even more to talk about on Monday.
Yes, we will. Jazz had 2 RBIs as well, so got to give the second baseman credit. But
Oh yeah.
overall, 5-2 start for the Yankees. Things going good in spring training. A lot of talking points today. Injuries were the main thing, obviously, but we'll get into some more on the next episode. That will be Monday. Make sure to subscribe. We are almost at 50 subscribers. Who's going to be the 50th? That's our first
Woo!
milestone on the channel. Thank you all for watching this episode. For Delilah, I'm Jordan Lorenz saying goodbye, everybody.
Bye.